Hello, I'm Bernard Norcott-Mahany. I work at the Blueford branch of the Kansas City Public Library. April is National Poetry Month, and in honor of April and in honor of this being an Olympic year, I've been reading poems of Pindar, who wrote epinician or victory odes for athletes. Today's poem, Isthmia poem number 2. So this is connected to the Isthmian Games, the games that were held at Corinth on the first year after an Olympic event and the third year after an Olympic event. But it's different. So the sort of title given to it is Isthmia poem 2. It's around 470 BCE for Xenocrates of Acragas for victory in the chariot race. Well, it's not quite that. Apparently, he did write a victory poem for Xenocrates, and this alludes to that poem, which we do not have. But this poem, he's basically sending to a friend of his, Thrasybulus, who apparently was the guy who commissioned the poem, or at least he's the guy who is sort of like an executor for Xenocrates' estate. So Xenocrates, by the time of this poem, has since died, and Pindar wants his money. So this is basically a poetic bill of sale, is what it is. Here's the bill. Would you please pay it? So it's technically not an epinician ode. It's really a poetic epistle in which he's asking for money for the poem that I guess he already had written, has already been done for Xenocrates, who has since passed away. And he still hasn't been paid. So, for this unusual poem, Isthmia number 2 for Xenocrates of Acragas, winner in the chariot race. The men of old, Thrasybulus, to the harp's loud accompaniment, mounted the gold-ribboned muse's chariot and gaily shot honey-toned songs at boys, at any who, being beautiful, had the sweetest summer that woos Aphrodite on her noble throne. For the muse then was not yet greedy for gain, nor worked for pay, nor did the sweet-voiced songs of Terpsichore silver their faces and ply for hire. But now she bids remember the Argive saying that comes near to the very truth. Money, money maketh man, he said, when he lost his possessions and friends together. Well, you are wise. I sing a victory not unknown, won by horses at the isthmus, which Poseidon granted to Xenocrates, and sent him to bind on his hair a wreath of Dorian parsley. He honored a fine charioteer, a light of the men of Acragas. In Crisa also the wide ruler Apollo beheld him and gave him glory. In radiant Athens he won the favoring fame of Erechtheus' son, and had no cause to blame the hand of a man who whipped up his horses and looked after his chariot. This hand Nicomachus gave to all the reins in the right nick of time. Him the heralds of the seasons knew, the Eleans, who keep the truce of Zeus, son of Cronus. For they had enjoyed what he did in kindness to strangers. With sweet-breathed voice they greeted him when he fell at the knees of golden victory in their own land, which they call the holy place of Olympian Zeus. There the sons of Anicedamus are joined to unperishing honors. Not unacquainted are your halls, Thrasybulus, either with lovely revelry or with sweet swelling songs. No hill is there, nor is the way steep, if one of the daughters of Helicon brings honor to the home of far-famed men. May I make a long throw with a quoit and shoot so far as Xenocrates surpassed all men in sweetness of mood. Modest was he in speech with his townsmen, and took thought of horse breeding in the manner of all the Hellenes. He opened his arms to every feast of the gods, nor ever at his generous table did a gale blow and lower his sail. But in summer he passed to the Phasis, and in winter he sailed to the shore of Nile. Therefore, because jealous hopes hang round the hearts of men, let his son not be silent on his father's prowess or on these songs, for I have not made them to stand idle. Give these to him, Nicosippus, when you come to my honored friend. So again, this is a poem where he's basically asking to be paid. In the poem, he does refer to victories that Xenocrates had won. Xenocrates himself had not driven the chariot, but rather a guy named Nicomachus did. And he's also made reference as pulling the reins at the appropriate time. So that's it. That's the Isthmian poem number 2, a rather strange poem because it's basically, would you please pay the bill for these poems that I had already written. Tomorrow we will look at Isthmia poem 6 for a winner in the boys' Pancration, which I have to say must have been a wild event. So, see you tomorrow.